Welcome to the epicenter of sports and entertainment. This is The Rude Dog Show. Now, here's your host, Rudy Reyes.
Welcome to a happy Monday for those who enjoy Mondays. I'm not one of them. Monday is Monday. And Monday or Milk and Honey Monday, whatever kind of Monday you want to have out there, hopefully you're having a great one and sitting here with me talking on the show, watching me clamor on about the things that are going on in the NFL. And if you didn't know this already, and if you were not looking at television, or perhaps your local Twitter machine in your little handheld laundromat bubble on the screen, you would have seen that there's quite a few things going on in the NFL, and usually it's not the same thing every single day. There has been some type of ruling today. We're going to go into that momentarily, but I wanted to get the good stuff out of the way. Of course, that is the Hall of Fame game going on in 3 days on Thursday. I cannot wait for this. It is the most exhilarating time of the year when you're watching your favorite players get inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. But more importantly, the game itself, which is always a segue after the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Now, two unlikely teams get to face off on Thursday. Of course, Jacksonville Jaguars. I may have spoken about this before. You may have heard it on the Mean Gene show. Maybe you heard it here on the Rude Dog show. Either way, there's shows for everyone and shows for all. Well, we're going to find out what mettle these two teams have between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Las Vegas Raiders. I can't wait for this game. I've been waiting all offseason, looking at all the drafts, at the NFL draft, talking to different players, talking to constituents. I'm excited. I am like bona fide excited, cannot wait for kickoff. Okay, fine. So it may be a little vanilla. But who doesn't like a little whipped cream on their vanilla ice cream, right? You can go get a shake and get some whipped cream put on top of your milkshake if you'd like, or if that's your flavor of the day or not. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be exhilarating. I cannot wait. It's going to be a full house. And maybe one year I'll get there. We're going to find out. I want to get that out of the way so I can start on more of a serious topic. And when I say serious, I mean, I would say relatively heinous, borders on the line of heinous. Yes, it does. I cannot believe, out of all things today, I get to have the daunting task of putting this all into perspective for those that don't know, that don't understand it, much like myself. During the CBA, there were, and of course you don't know what CBA is, collective bargaining agreement between the NFL, the NFLPA, and its players. The NFLPA represents those players, and with that, the understanding that there's going to be certain rules and a mix of things that can be put on the table that can be taken away by the players at any given time. They can say, yes, we want this, or no, we don't. But today just kind of set the precedent. You think about it in the NFL. Does the NFL like women? We know its players do. We've seen it throughout historical times, unprecedented times. Deshaun Watson certainly lets female massage therapists, as we've seen. But more importantly, the 20-plus accusations, of course, claimed none to be criminal with any criminal intent whatsoever. But more importantly, we look at the judgment that was handed down by Sue Robinson, and I'm trying to stay objective here. I really am. It's tough, though, because you're putting women in a corner. And I don't like the corner they're being put in. And I don't agree with that point of view of not understanding who the women are, much less the NFL stance on who these women are, what they represent in today's sports landscape. And the sad part about this is as I say hello to Maria, this is Rudy Reyes live on the Rude Dog Show. Today's California, today's Canada. Betty, Paunescu, Cornelius, thank you for joining. Barry, thanks for chiming in. Appreciate it. And Marie again. Hello to Barry. So there you go. There's your love for the day. And I cannot believe we're going to have this conversation in more of an in-depth, critical teeter-totter of what this hand down of a 6-game suspension. 6 games, that's it. That's it. 20 plus accusations, none criminal. Of course, the majority of them were paid off and or could have been intimidated by lawyers for Deshaun Watson. We don't know. We can fabricate whatever we want. But the fact is that he was sent off packing for 6 games in the beginning of the 2022 NFL season. That's it. No more. That sends messages across the board, arrows at ships saying we're going to strike your bow, but this is a warning shot. And of course, the ship is filled with nothing but women. Because now they have targets on their back because it sets the wrong tone to other players who may be likely, they have a propensity and believe that because Deshaun Watson got off on 6 games, that maybe they can get the same type of punishment. Well, what's 6 games? I can go intimidate a physical therapist. I can intimidate a woman. I can get away by beating her in an elevator. I can pick on her all I want, and that's all I'm going to get is 6 games. Boo-hoo. And not get fined because there was no money associated with Deshaun Watson's suspension. Imagine that. Why? Why was there no money at all taken from him when all this transpired, when it all occurred, when now all of a sudden we decide to put the hands of decision-making processes away from Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL, and give those executables to somebody who is supposed to be bipartisan in a retired capacity like Sue Robinson is right now. A woman giving him 6 games, not an entire year. I don't believe that she sent the right message to anybody, man, woman, or child. More than a monetary fine, suspend him and fine him. Make him sit out the entire year. He hasn't touched a football in over a year in any live game that I've seen coming over from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns. Now he's practicing a training camp. That's nothing. That's not real time. It's not real time. Hey, Javon, thank you so much. Appreciate you chiming in. Hello back to you. It's so egregious. This should not have happened. Now, women in the NFL want a day off. I don't blame them. I'd probably take a day or 2 off myself. But I'm not in their position. I'm not the one who's trying to scratch and claw to get to the next level of my professional career. Because if I say anything, if I speak out, and all of a sudden I'm the bad person. I'm the one to blame. What? Again, another sad and incorrect message. These women now feel that they have to watch out with every P and Q and be almost overly selective in regards to who, in fact, they want to service. Massage legs. Watch out for this guy. Massage your arms. Well, watch out for him. He's got issues. They don't know what they're getting. It may be great on the field, great in the locker room, and I'm not picking on NFL athletes to suggest that they're the only ones involved in this or who have made notable contributions to such negativity against women. No, because I guarantee you this is widespread. This is not just about NFL players, and I'm not picking on them. I'm merely stating for the record that there is more than just tunnel vision going on here. From my point of view, the way that I look at it is I'm not looking for Watson apologists. I'm not looking for the whimsical commentary that the Browns organization wants to feed everybody. We're a team first. Well, clearly. That's probably the only part of this I even believe. They're team first, team centric, and all they want to do is protect their investment. Very expensive one, I might add. And the NFL will appeal this. I guarantee it. I will put every word that I'm saying back in my mouth and regurgitate it on my next show if the NFL does not appeal this. I just don't see that not happening. I don't. It has nothing to do with the shield and, protect the NFL. No, this is about doing the right thing, setting the right tone. And I would not go to a retired federal judge to make this decision. The NFL proved its case civilly, almost criminally. But when money talks and your career's on the line, as a woman, what do? Do you fight the man? Do you fight the person? Do you fight the inevitable losing battle against someone who's a millionaire 100 times over? You're not going anywhere anytime soon, much less be named in the documentation. So that way somebody else could actually look you up and say, no, we're not going to hire you. Thanks though. Appreciate it. No. And you're right. We don't clearly know that anything did not happen. So I'm going to take the other side of this coin, Russell Barber. There was enough to do plenty, and that's why the NFL is going to appeal this. And I appreciate you chiming in there. That's not entirely true. Browns fans cheered for this guy once he was on the field. Cheered. Not objectively, because they know for a fact that wins cure all. New England Patriots, Deflategate, wins cured everything. In every gate that the Patriots have had, winning cures all. And they did. They matched the Steelers for most wins by an NFL team in NFL history. Even though Pittsburgh was first to 6, other teams followed. And the New England Patriots were that team. Now, Cleveland Browns last year with a lateral quarterback with a lateral tear now finds himself in Carolina, in Baker Mayfield. I think that's a better place for him. I'm not going to get into he said, she said, we said, they all said. I'm getting down to the proof, and the money is what silenced the proof. That's my opinion, and I'm going to take that stance. This is not a court of law that I would even suggest or want to be addressed in or found guilty or innocent in. It's an interesting take, Russell. Make no mistake about it. I hear you. I get what you're saying. But what's obvious to you and what's obvious to fans, what's obvious to me, it's not the same thing. And I'm not even talking about fans of the Browns. I'm talking fans in general. Fans of all ages, all genders, all sizes. They obviously don't see this as being just. So as many people, I've been wanting to say this for a while actually, so I'm glad we're having this conversation, that 20 plus women were wrong. Is that right? Is that my understanding? That all these women decided to go in cahoots, work together in a big Ponzi scheme and trying to take Deshaun Watson for all the money he has? There's no way I'm buying that. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Thank you, Lisa Hoffman, for chiming in. Appreciate it. I mean, the proof is in the numbers. That's the obvious part. Beyond obvious. To me, it's way too obvious. Deshaun Watson knew that his sexual contact, confluence was unwanted by these women. It doesn't take somebody who's a rocket scientist to figure out that if a woman tells you no, that means no. No is the same across every language barrier. And nobody can convince me otherwise. The fact alone that he had reckless disregard for the consequences of his conduct and I find equivalent to intentional conduct. End quote. That's enough to be criminal, is it not? Would that not be suggestive? As suggestive as it was for him to get these women to touch his private parts? I'm not convinced that these women were in any type of coup to take down Deshaun Watson. All they wanted to do was to tell their side of the story. But again, and I'll say this again for the second time, people that have money pushed in their face, that don't want their reputation destroyed in an industry that had taken them well over 15 to 25 years to get into, this is not about power that these women have. This is about resolution. Well, the resolution was not resolved. It was dissolved by the judge and the court and the decision and everything associated with this very unprecedented 6-game suspension. Now, the bigger question is this: how does the NFL save face in all of this? How? If you can explain that, I got some swampland in Arizona to sell you. It's going to be a daunting task because now the NFL, not only do they have female referees that the NBA has, by the way, they have they have female executives in Major League Baseball. Yes, they do. So now these women are ultimately put in a very precarious situation. They have earned their right, fought their way, educated themselves, networked extremely well. They're professionals from end to end, top to bottom, side to side, up and down. Now, mind you, I'll give a plus minus to those that don't go about it the right way because you know who you are versus the ones that have and that will and that do. Now, what's interesting is even back when Ben Roethlisberger was accused of raping 3 women, there were tons of jokes about him, about all the alleged activities. And I don't know if something could have happened. Could it? Maybe. But again, what's as obvious to me isn't obvious to you, and obviously not so obvious. Just because it's common for us doesn't mean it's common for everyone else. I'll even take this a step further. I will take it up a notch. Dan Snyder, one of the biggest owner/offenders in the National Football League for violations against women in the workplace. And that covers all gamuts. I'm not just talking about the fact alone that he has the ability because they're there and he has them at arm's length to say, hey, if you do this, you may get that in a quid pro quo situation. And the circumstances for him is, what does that even mean? Now, mind you, this goes back to 2009. 2009. We're in 2022. So he has a right to pull a Watson? Is that elementary? What's elementary is that he has dragged this on for so long, has told courts that I don't want to be, I'm busy. I have a scheduled conflict. I want to do this. I want to do that. What is that? That what? Do you have the ultimate capability of being a guy who is going to go by the wayside? Or are you going to tell the truth and just be honest and say, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. I did this. This is on me. This is my fault. I'm the one to blame. I'll take whatever punishment. That's what somebody who's actually guilty and wants to come clean, will do. Unlike Deshaun Watson hiding behind his lawyers. The type of conversation and verbality that he gives us is, oh, I'm here to focus on the game, and I'm here to focus on this, and I'm here to focus on that. I can't suggest that that's not true intent. He wants to put it behind him. I would too. I would too. But if he wasn't guilty of something, why would he feel the need to pay somebody off? And I had this conversation on Twitter earlier today, that very short bursts here and there. If you're not guilty, why would you pay money to someone? It's like throwing something at the wall and expect it to stick. Well, that's exactly what that's what he did. Unfortunately, it did stick. It stuck to a point where now he doesn't have to pay a lot of that money. He gets to sit in the lap of luxury with fans cheering him on as he leaves the practice field during every Browns training. This is like the second week of camp. To say, you know what, I'm going to practice. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to have my game. I'll have my time in the sun. All during preseason, I'll get all the snaps. But then 6 games will occur. And it'll be almost the middle of the season. 3 more would be the middle of the season in week 18. It'll only serve 6 games. So not quite half of the season, but close. Now, I'll tell you this. If I had it my way, he would be suspended an entire year. He'd be fined probably maybe $1 million of that $100 million with tons of money up front guaranteed. So that way he can really be taught a lesson. Now, he chose not to suit up for the Houston Texans to some extent, minus injury, and it's a bad look. And before all this came out, he played an entire season the year before last. The problem I have with this is that he'll continue to do this. You're rewarding bad behavior. And this is something that he's going to have to atone for one way or another. You can give me all the hogwash garbage that you can if you're a Browns fan or out of the Browns organization. Yeah, you guys are going to win. The Browns fans will win some games. The Browns will win some games. The fans will be cheering them on. But at the end of the day, out of every single game that's played, when I look at this, I think to myself, is he serious? Is he going to atone for this? Is he going to work in the community to change the image that he tarnished, which was self-inflicted tarnishment? Let's hope so, for his sake, for his benefit. And the fans that support him. The ones that are cheering him on. The ones that are wanting for him to run into the end zone for a touchdown. I want to see how that works out. For him, I hope he's able to recover from all of this. I just hope that there's justice served, because 6 games is not justice. It's not. This is Rudy Reyes on Today's California, live on YouTube, Twitter. This show will be on TheRudeDogShow.com. Check it out. Like it, love it, share it. That's just what I enjoy the most. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all your commentary. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you. It's been just appreciated to no end. Well, I want to close this show out with some notable injuries, and maybe not really an injury necessarily, but still enough to keep Kyler Murray away again from playing with his now beloved, since he got that, guaranteed money boost, signing through, what is it, 2025, 2026, somewhere in that genre. He's questionable. He tested positive for COVID. Okay, there's a margin of error there. I don't fully blame him not in a complete capacity that he decided to acquire it. Maybe he's not boosted. Maybe he doesn't have his shots. Don't know. Marquise Brown is out due to a hamstring. He should be good to go next week, at least at some juncture. Max Williams has a knee issue as well. Brian Edwards for the Atlanta Falcons, Deion Jones, Eric Harris, Taquan Graham. This is a laundry list There are ones even longer than this one. Taquan Graham, Tease Tabor, Isaiah Oliver, Frank Darby, Cameron Batson, and Keith Smith, find themselves out on an injury list. But what's even worse is last year, Baltimore Ravens faced a COVID sweep of injuries, just a sweep of guys out. Charlie Kolar out. J.K. Dobbins out. Kolar's questionable. Gus Edwards out. Ardarius Washington out. Ronnie Staley out. Marcus Peters out. Tyus Bowser out. Ricky Person out. David Ajabo questionable. It just keep on coming. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on, but there's got to be a solution a lot sooner or later for the Baltimore Ravens from an injury standpoint. Buffalo Bills dealing with some injuries as well. Jake Kumaro, Eli Ankal, Ike Bodker, Roger Saffold, and Tre'Davious White. That's not good. That guy's a solid corner. Almost shut down last year. Shutdown corner contributor. Carolina Panthers also dealing with some as well when you have guys like J.C. Horn, Shaq Thompson, Utura Gross Matos, Marquise Haynes Sr., Davlon Nixon, and Cameron Irving. All questionable except for Shaq, who is out currently. Bears, Thomas Graham, Lucas Patrick, Michael Joseph, Taji Sharp, Dane Cruikshank, Roquan Smith, which is absolutely devastating, out. Riley Rife, tackles, questionable. Bengals have a laundry list as well. T. Higgins, Logan Wilson, Joe Burrow, out. A successful surgery to remove his appendix. Should be back into play at some point. Joseph Asai, Khalil Kareem, Brandon Wilson, Joe Bacci, Trent Irwin, Tyler Shelvin, Jermaine Pratt, also out for the Bengals. So you can see this is a lot. This is not going to go away. These guys are going to find themselves hopefully be able to come back, make a difference for their team during the regular season. Of course, we know that that's still some time away. These guys will have a opportunity to recover from these injuries. I thought I'd touch on that. Thought I'd give you guys a little bit of insight, not only on the injury front, but as well as my thoughts on Deshaun Watson. I appreciate you tuning in. I try to be as objective as possible, and I make no excuses for my thought process on Deshaun Watson and that whole debacle. But more importantly, it's a matter of the amends. We understand the problem, at least as we understand it, but it's more about the solution to this than the problem itself. So that, I'm Rudy Reyes. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great evening.